For most figure skating coaches, a single Olympic champion would be the achievement of a lifetime. But for Carlo Fassi, it was just the beginning. Fassi moved to Denver in 1973 and established a training center that attracted champions from around the world. It was a heady experience, both for the elite, established skaters who trained under Fassi and for the young, unproven skaters who flocked to his side.
I'm a kid from Dallas, and I show up at this rink in Denver, which is, at the time, just mecca of skating. You have Dorothy Hamill and John Curry and the Canadian champion and the Italian champion, and everybody has converged on this rink. And just watching that senior freestyle was so exciting. And I remember just wanting to go to the Olympics. That was really the first thing. So I guess, you know, this world-class environment, I think that Carlo created that.
In this period, another Fassi characteristic became most evident. In the 60s, he introduced team teaching to a sport where rivalries and insecurities made such a concept unthinkable. But in the 70s, he elevated team teaching to an art form.
Carlo was a wonderful chef. He had a lot of sous chefs around to hand him that cup of finely chopped parsley when he needed it. But he was the one that made the whole stew work.
Fassi would send his most prized pupils away to work with others, confident that they would return. The late John Curry was a skater of rare gifts, but his jumps were flawed. Fassi encouraged him to leave the nest and relearn how to jump.
John knew that he had to correct his jumps, and Carlo encouraged him to go to Gus Lucy to correct his jumps. Carlo didn't feel threatened by him going to another teacher. So many teachers today feel threatened if somebody else even looks at their pupil. They have to hold on to them with an iron grip because they're scared that they'll lose them. They don't have the confidence to say, sure, you're very good at teaching the shading of blue. I can teach all the other colors. Come on over and work with my pupil on the shade of the color blue. And John Curry went to Gus Lucy, corrected his jumps, came back to Carlo, and of course Carlo got the credit for his winning the Olympic gold medal. Pretty smart.
Carlo's most treasured collaborator was his wife, Krista. They shared a life together and were very much equals on the ice. While Carlo was more visible, Krista was always there.
Part of Carlo's magic was the fact that Krista was the greatest magician's assistant that ever existed.
The partnership allowed them to treat skaters as individuals and to adjust to the pressures of the sport.
Carlo would teach somebody and it would get a little bit tense, or they wouldn't listen so well anymore, so then we kind of just switched.
At the '76 Olympics, Dorothy Hamill and John Curry each captured the gold medal. At the 1980 Olympics, Robin Cousins claimed another gold. 2 Olympiads, 3 champions, each with their own distinct personalities and specific needs.
I really absolutely was facing burnout, and I think one of the great things about Carlo is that he could see that. He knew I needed a change of scenery and just something different. I think that was a great gift that Carlo had. He could tell when his students were getting burned out or needed a break or a change.
Perhaps Carlo's greatest contribution to the sport was the passion for skating that he helped instill in the hearts of so many of his students. It is a love for the sport that endures even decades after his skaters lived out their Olympic dreams.
It was the passion that drove him to limits beyond the call of duty, which is unfortunately probably the reason he's not here now. I think it would be a very hard person not to get something from that man and Krista that tells you that if you're not passionate and you don't love this business, get out.
Ladies and gentlemen,